Hi everyone. In today's session, we have Teji Mandi and Vaibhav from Teji Mandi talking about the market outlook in 2022. So this session has been hosted by Angel Broking, and the agenda of this session would be to discuss some of the new small cases that have been launched by Teji Mandi on the small case platform and on the Angel Broking platform. So without further ado, we would like to try to understand what is the philosophy behind these small cases and the rationale behind these small cases. So a brief introduction about Vaibhav, who's here with us today. So Vaibhav is the Chief Investment Officer at Teji Mandi, and he has over a decade of experience in stock picking and generating index beating returns. So under the mentorship of ace investor Ramdev Agarwal, Vaibhav has developed his distinct investment philosophy. His style involves combining a portfolio of tactical bets with long-term winners to generate optimum returns. And Vaibhav also holds a bachelor's in computer science from the University of Pennsylvania and an MBA from London Business School. So without further ado, I would like Vaibhav to enlighten us about what he thinks is the outlook for 2022 going forward.
Thank you, Pranav, for that wonderful introduction. And thanks everyone for taking the time to see this presentation. So, if we take a brief recap of the stock market in 2021, the Nifty was up by 28%, and the small cap index was, up by almost double, which is at about 54%. We had seen that the second wave had derailed the economic growth quite severely. However, companies showed remarkable agility in bouncing back. What we think is that from here on, it'll be specific stocks and sectors that will do well. And last year we saw that the market breadth was quite strong. So one of the key highlights last year was the move by the government towards a bolder and more growth-oriented India. The government had increased the fiscal deficit target, and that was a paradigm shift in the thinking of the government. This sort of clearly indicated that the focus will be on growth. And because of this change in stance, we think that these reforms could be much bigger than the reforms that we saw even in 1991. So if we see the economy, we clearly think that we are on a strong recovery path. As you can see, this curve is what the economy would have been if the markets had been, or if the GDP had been growing linearly. However, what we've seen is that GDP is now growing at a rate even faster than the pre-pandemic path. Now, there are a lot of high-frequency indicators also to indicate that there is a increase, economic upswing is happening. So we can see that in electricity consumption, we can see that in UPI payments, we can see that in the e-way bill generation, and even the freight carried by trains. Freight carried by trains is a good example of sort of the movement of goods in India. So that's also an uptick. Container traffic is also kind of increasing by almost 14%. And manufacturing PMI also increased sharply in November 21. Also, one of the concerns people have nowadays is around the Omicron situation. And we think that at least from the initial looks of it, seems like Omicron is not as severe as some of the other COVID strains. And also by March of this year, it's likely that about 90% of India will have antibodies. So, even though there might be some small sort of an effect, it won't significantly sort of set back the economy like what we saw in the first and second wave. So there has been a significant increase in capex announcements by some of the big private sector companies, like you can see. And even the central government and the state governments have both sort of indicated, large spending in capex and infrastructure. Also, there's an increase in environmental clearances, and usually this hints at the capex cycle which is sort of going to come. So if we sort of take a view into the capex cycle, capacity utilization of top 6 players in the steel and cement industry is above average. Government capex is focused on road, rail, and water segments. New project announcements by the private sector in the first quarter of FY22 was above the pre-COVID average run rate. We've also seen that because of PLI schemes, cumulative capex should be close to about 1.7 lakh crores, and this could fast track capex plans of a lot of companies in different sectors. One of the other important things is that residential real estate seems to be turning around after almost a decade. So as we can see, in September and in September 20 and March 2021, residential real estate inventory sort of started falling off, which means that the demand was higher than the supply, and because of that, the prices of the new units has been going up. So prices of houses are going up, which is again a sign of an increase. It's also a sign that the economy is sort of recovering. Real estate faced a series of reforms like demonetization, GST, and RERA. And housing demand is expected to be very buoyant. And this buoyancy is shown by the fact that real estate developers have entered into 45 land deals, of which almost 70% is residential real estate. Another big indicator of the economy picking up is the credit growth. So what we've seen is that overall credit card spending was at almost 1 lakh crores, which is the highest in the last 6 months. Also, credit growth, which had bottomed out at about 5% in April, has now increased to about 7% as of November. Even RBI's latest sectoral deployment data shows that industry credit growth, which is basically corporate credit growth, so that about 0% has now gone to 4% as of October. Right? There's some sort of green shoots in corporate credit as well. There's also an increase in banks' risk appetite for unsecured loans. So this graph is very interesting because what it shows is that it shows you a 20-year history of India's economy. So as you can see, 2003 to 2005 was a cyclical recovery, and then this peaked out during the Great Financial Crisis, and it sort of bottomed out. We think during the second wave of COVID, and now we're again seeing a early cyclical recovery. And there are many things to show it. So one is sort of falling corporate NPAs, balance sheet strengthening, and demand-led inflation. So the question is that we are on a cyclical upturn, but are we on the cusp of a long growth cycle? And we think the answer is yes. And the reason for that is that India's corporate profits to GDP are at the lowest in several decades. Because of bad loans, the earnings of several banks have dried up. And once the cycle reverses, companies like State Bank of India could see significant write-backs. The government is clearly focusing on capex, infrastructure, and roads. And because of that, this could have a multiplier effect on the economy. A good thing is you're starting a cycle with low interest rates. Companies have delevered significantly, so there's low debt levels and surplus liquidity. And in such a cycle, 5-10% growth in the top line could lead to 25 to 30% growth in the bottom line because of operating leverage. So as you can see, FY6 to FY12, we saw a figure of about 12%. FY12 to FY19, corporate EPS growth was only at about 4%. And this is now expected to increase to about 15% in the next 4 to 5 years. And of this, financials are likely to be a key component. So this, we also put some data from the last 6 years to see, how does the market behave when there's a sharp correction. So we've seen that every time that there is a sharp correction, markets have bounced back quite strongly. Even as recently as December, markets have sort of bounced back reasonably strongly. So, we don't think that you should worry too much about corrections. In fact, corrections are a great time for you to top up your portfolio. Now, the other important thing is that more than timing the market, time spent in the market is more important. Over the last 30 years, Nifty has given a return of about 12% compounded annually. Now, if you miss the 30 out of the best, of these 30 years, your returns would come down to just about 3x. So that's why big money is made by being in the market, not by being out of the market. So, in summary, economy is going into a structural upcycle after almost 15 years. GDP is expected to grow strongly in the next 4 to 5 years. Compared to the last 7 years, annual growth of 4%, corporate profits are expected to grow by 15% annually. And government plus private sector capex is expected to be strong over the next 5 years. And good thing is that we're starting a cycle with low interest rates, low debt levels, and surplus liquidity. Now, to talk a little bit about the Teji Mandi investment team, as Pranav had introduced me, I have about 10 years of experience in stock picking, and I've studied in the US and the UK, and I've had the opportunity to interact with some of the finest minds in the Indian capital market space. And this is Mr. Ramdev Agarwal. He's on our board of directors. He's a pretty known face in the investment field. And he's also a pioneer of QGFD philosophy of investing. Now, coming to Teji Mandi's portfolios, in terms of stock analysis, we have 4 aspects that we look at. One is we look at data from across 50 different sectors and subsectors. We do detailed balance sheet, income statement, cash flow analysis. We have quantitative screeners across various accounting, growth, and valuation parameters. And we have real-time news trackers of companies and other market participants. So in terms of, one other important component is the rebalancing. So what we do is, oftentimes what happens is that the investment thesis may no longer be valid because, there's a large competitor who has entered the sector, or a company's capital allocation policy may have changed, or the management may have changed. So in that case, we may choose to replace the stock with something else. It could also be the case that there's a substantially better risk-reward opportunity in some other stock or sector. Also, when there's too much, noise around different stocks or different sectors, we may choose to exit that stock. Also, in extreme situations when the market is overheated or there's some negative externality, we may choose to have a portion of the portfolio in liquid ETFs. Also, if a stock price falls by 15% or if it doesn't perform over a period of time, we do reevaluate our position in the stock. Now, coming to the Teji Mandi portfolios, we have 2 portfolios. One is flagship. So this is a multi-cap portfolio of 15 to 20 stocks. And as you can see, 12-month returns are at about 56.5%. And we have multiplier. This is concentrated portfolio, small and mid-cap stocks. And 12-month returns are close to about 100%. We'll talk about the flagship. On the stock picking side, we have 2 components of the portfolio. So one is tactical bets. This is about 20% of the portfolio, and this has a time horizon of 3 to 6 months. So now, there are several criteria for this. One could be industry consolidation. So what this means is that, for example, in the banking sector, large private sector banks are gaining significant market share on account of better underwriting and aggressive provisioning. Also, sometimes because of a change in government policy, like what we're seeing with the PLI schemes, certain companies in certain sectors tend to do very well. Also, there could be external conditions which are favorable for specific stocks or sectors, and they may drive economic growth. So, for example, like last year, what we saw with good rainfall, tractor and fertilizer stocks are done very well. And then we have the long-term winner. This is about 80% of the portfolio with a time horizon of 12 to 18 months. So these companies should have a proven growth track record of profits over 1, 3, and 5 years. They should have meaningful growth runway ahead of them. Capital allocation should be pretty good in these companies, and sometimes due to near-term concerns, certain stocks are beaten down, and so the risk reward in such stocks may be increased. In terms of the performance, I think as you can see, over almost every time period, we've the absolute returns are also pretty good, and even the outperformance to the underlying benchmark is pretty strong. Now, so if you had invested 100 rupees with us when this portfolio started, today we had 272 rupees as compared to 166 rupees in the index. So it's a pretty it's a pretty low cost sort of affordable flat fee model that we have. So it's either it's 199 for 3 months, which is 597, or it's 149 for 6 months, which is 894 rupees. You can also use the Teji Mandi 10 coupon to get a 10% discount to the pricing. Coming to multiplier, this is a portfolio of small and mid cap stocks. So this is for people who are looking, or they're looking for a portfolio which is slightly, it's got chance of slightly higher capital appreciation over time, but also the time duration has to be sort of longer. And so what we do is that we typically look at companies which have good capital allocation and good corporate governance. This becomes very important in small and mid cap stocks. Also, small and mid cap stocks have low coverage. That gives us an edge over some of the other analysts. And also, given that we are in a cyclical upturn, small and mid caps tend to outperform these extremes. So I think over the next 3 years, we expect a significant revival in performance. So we see the performance of the multiplier portfolio, and I think over every time period, the absolute performance is quite strong, and even the outperformance of the index is pretty strong. And if you invested 100 rupees with us, that would have been about 215 today versus 154 in the index. And it's a simple flat fee model again, 1500 for 3 months and 2500 for 6 months. You can use the Teji Mandi 10 coupon and get a 10% off on the pricing. So that's it from our side. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll take any questions now.
Thanks a lot, Vaibhav. So when it comes to Teji Mandi small cases, we generally tend to have a set of repetitive questions that we tend to get from the audience. So what I'll be doing right now is I'll post some of these questions that we generally tend to get about the small cases that have been launched, and maybe you can throw some light on these questions. So the first question that I would like to pose is how has your experience with your current investors been?
So with the current investors, it's been pretty good. Most people have made a lot of money in both our portfolios, and so they're pretty happy to sort of they're pretty happy to sort of renew some of these portfolios as well. So, and we have a pretty big investor count as well. So I think that validates the work that we've done.
Okay. And we do have a lot of apprehension coming in from investors who believe that the markets have, the markets have become a little overvalued, and they have queries with respect to how both small cases are expected to perform during turbulent market conditions.
So I think last 1.5 years we've seen, so there have been different time periods. So obviously it's been a one-way run, but there have also been periods of time like what we saw in November and December where the markets had corrected. Despite that, both the portfolios have done very well. Mm-hmm. And so there's no reason for us to believe that that won't continue going forward.
Okay. And will you be changing your investment philosophy if the broader market conditions changes?
No, I don't think we change our investment philosophy. In fact, our investment philosophy has been designed keeping in mind that market conditions change. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of flexible enough to sort of almost any market condition.
Okay. And do you have plans of maybe launching new small cases in the future?
Yes, we might. I think we've been getting demand for some asset allocation small cases, so we might launch that. So yeah, people can look forward to those in the coming months.
Okay. And the next question that I would like to ask is a more generalistic question. So, how do investors invest in bear markets, and when to rightly judge when to start parking during a bear market?
See, I don't think you can ever time the market perfectly. And in fact, if you're convinced that something is worth 100 rupees and that has become now 80 rupees or 70 rupees or 60 rupees, in fact, that is a better time for you to enter,
Right.
because the same thing that is worth something is available much cheaper to you. So it's a great time to enter then. But I would not advise anyone to sort of try and time the bottom, because that's very, very difficult, almost impossible in some cases. So it would be better that you sort of you sort of average down, or you not average down, but like if you do sort of an SIP, then that would sort of ensure that you've entered at different points in the bear market as well. So that way, then you're able to take advantage of the bear market as well.
Got it. And the next, a commonly asked question is with respect to rebalancing of the small cases. So we know that all small cases tend to go through a rebalance process where it is ensured that the small case manager is, reshuffling the portfolio as and when required to keep the portfolio healthy in the long run. So with respect to that, can we try to understand to what degree the small cases are going to get rebalanced? What could be the, expected duration of rebalances and so on?
So in the flagship, which is the multi-cap portfolio, we tend to rebalance either once or twice in a month, usually. But again, there is no set frequency because it really depends on what the opportunities are. In certain cases, when we look to exit stocks, there should be clear criteria available for us to sort of do that. So, but on average, what we've seen is we rebalance about once or twice a month. As far as the multiplier goes, I think that's a much longer term portfolio. So it could be the case that for 3 months, 4 months, there's no rebalance at all. So the rebalance in that is much less frequent.
Right. And the next question is again a frequently asked question. Which sector do you think has the best chance to grow in maybe 2022?
Yeah, I think in the next year, I think financials and banking should do pretty well. Because as we've seen, we're coming out of a cyclical bottom, so we're going on at a cyclical upturn, and credit growth has increased from 5% to about 7%, and this is likely to increase only further. So I think banking should do pretty well.
Okay. And the next question is with respect to big ticket sizes that are actually coming in. So there is a question which is being posed by those who want to invest 25 lakhs or above in your small cases. So is that possible? Has that been enabled from your end?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no limit to how much you can invest, even 2 crores, and it doesn't matter. I mean, so big ticket sizes, absolutely no barrier for you to sort of invest in a
Okay. And we do have a wide variety of a set of clients who come onto the small case platform. So these users generally tend to range from a very young age for millennial investors, going as high as veteran investors. So I just wanted to understand from my side, as per your understanding, what would be the best age to start investing?
I mean, I think the younger you are, maybe in your mid-20s, I think you should start investing, because the longer you are in the markets, the longer you have to compound your money.
Right.
And, so yeah, I think the better it is if you start younger.
Okay.
But I would also advise that people who are not doing, or at least if you're young, you should invest through some of the advisors or managers, because they have the experience to sort of navigate the market. Some of the younger people might get carried away, and even so that's why I think you should have a blend of sort of managed portfolios, and you can do a small component DIY as well. But
right. So does that mean that if I'm 33, for example, right now, is it a little too late for me to start my investments?
No, not at all. I mean, I think it's a perfect place to start. I mean, it's a long way ahead. So to start now, I mean, I think you should see some decent compounding over the next 2 years.
All right. These are actually the list of generally asked queries that we get with respect to your small cases that are live on the Angel Broking platform. And in fact, I would like you to, I would like to thank you for enlightening us with the 2022 outlook. What we would like to show the audience right now is how to basically identify where Teji Mandi portfolios or small cases exist on the platform, and basically how to go about subscribing to any one of these small cases. So what we would like to show. So what I would like to actually do is take you through a quick overview of how to identify where the small cases exist. So as you can see on the screen right now, I have come over to smallcases.angelbroking.com. So over here, the first step to do is to log into this platform using your Angel Broking trading and demat account. So once that is done, what you're supposed to do is click on Discover and then click on Managers. So over here, when you scroll down, you'll be able to find Teji Mandi as one of the popular managers on the Angel Broking platform. So now you're supposed to click on Teji Mandi and you'll be able to see both the multiplier and the Teji Mandi flagship small cases that Vaibhav has now spoken about. So if you want to invest in any of these small cases, the first step would be to subscribe to them. So you can click the small case of your choice. In this case, you can click on the multiplier small case. So to give you a quick run through, the name of the small case will be mentioned here. What it does in one line will be mentioned here. And the overview section will basically tell the investor why somebody should invest in this particular small case and whether this philosophy is something that will suit their investment requirements. And you will also find the 11-month returns or the returns since it has been made live on the platform over here. So this particular small case, that is the multiplier small case by Teji Mandi, has been live for about 11 months on the small case platform, and you'll find the 11 months return mentioned over here, which is about 1 or 2%. And every small case, as we know, comes with a minimum investment amount. We can think of it as the minimum ticket size with which you can start your investment. So the minimum investment amount is dependent on the scripts that are in the small case and the current value of these scripts. So the minimum investment amount naturally can change marginally as and when the market conditions change. So if you wish to know more about the fee structure of every small case, you can click on the See All Plans and Benefits, and you'll be able to notice the pricing structure that is available for the respective small case. Also, if you wish to see track the performance of a small case, or if you would like to compare the small case's performance with respect to its benchmark index, what you can do is scroll down and come to the past performance section. So over here, if you wish to only see the live performance of the small case, then you can click on the live performance. So as you can see here, the blue line depicts the small case in question, which is the multiplier small case by Teji Mandi, and the yellow line represents the index in question. So the multiplier small case is being compared with the equity small cap index, in this case automatically, because most of the stocks present in the multiplier small case as of this moment are predominantly small cap stocks. So you will be able to track the performance of the small case over here and basically try to understand if this meets your investment requirements. Similarly, you can head over to the Teji Mandi flagship small case also, where the template remains the same, and you can try to understand if this particular small case suits your investment requirement. Similarly, one key thing to note is that the minimum investment amount is changes from small case to small case. So Teji Mandi flagship starts with a lesser minimum investment amount. And for those of you who wish to explore more about any particular small case, be it the multiplier small case or the Teji Mandi flagship, you can feel free to click on the fact sheet button over here, and a downloadable PDF opens up where you will find details about the rationale of the small case and the methodology that has gone into selecting the stocks, some of the ratios that you might be interested in, for example, P ratio, PB ratio, and including dividend yields, and some important fields such as the review frequency, the launch date, the inception date, and the market cap distribution. So for those of you who are interested in understanding more about Teji Mandi, any of the Teji Mandi small case baskets, so you can feel free to click on the fact sheet button and explore more. So one key thing to note for those of you who wish to subscribe, please do not forget to apply the promo code. So when you click on the subscribe now button, when you're proceeding, you will be asked to apply the promo code. Simultaneously, if those of you who wish to understand how to subscribe to a small case, the payment structure depends on what your preference is. So you can go about using your debit card facility, using your net banking, and basically a lot of payment mechanisms are available, which you can utilize and subscribe to a small case. But please ensure that the minimum investment amount is available in your trading and demat account. So when you subscribe to and invest in a small case, the set of stocks get purchased directly in your angel broking, trading and demat account. So the minimum ticket size or the minimum investment amount has to be present in your angel broking, trading and demat account, and the fee structure which is being charged has to be present in your respective bank account from which you want to make the payment. So that is the procedure for subscribing to a small case. If you have any other queries, you can reach out to the support desk at Angel Broking, or you may even drop a mail to help@smallcase.com, and we'll be able to take up your queries and address them better. So thanks a lot for the audience for coming over and trying to understand how the small cases that have been launched by Teji Mandi have fared so far. And I would also like to thank Viber for coming in today and throwing more light on how these small cases basically work, what is the philosophy or rationale behind it. And also I would like to thank him for taking his time out to give us answers to some of the most asked questions by the audience. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Pranav, for having me here.
Sure.
It was a pleasure.
So, yes, thanks a lot. So thanks a lot for the audience too for also tuning in. So good day, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.